Greetings, I am Nongai Emich Saka with my colleagues Admin Skal and Valentina Bernard Piri. We are Group 31 and our topic is the effects of information communication strategy implementation on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry. That is a case study of Kitwe, Zambia. The outline of our study will start from phase of the introduction, objectives of the study, theoretical underpinning, conceptual model, hypothesis, research design, findings and interpretations, significance, limitations and future research, conclusions, and lastly, we have the question and answer. Introduction. With the change in business operations, the insurance companies are shifting from the traditional way of operations to digital operations. As most of these companies are gradually recovering from financial crisis, while insurance is one of them, the focus which they have is that they are moving from survival to growth. And one way for a business to achieve growth is through effective customer service delivery. So, a study by Martin Kimani from Kenya showed that ICT among insurance companies have become a necessity to ensure faster insurance operations and claims settlement. Hence the motivation to research on this topic. The aim of this research is to determine the impact of ICT strategy implementation on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry in Kitwe, Zambia. Definition of key terms. The key terms, there is customer service delivery, online underwriting strategy, automated claims management strategy, centralized customer relationship management strategy, insurance business, insurer, and insurance holder. Firstly, the customer service delivery. In the insurance industry, it is defined as the assistance provided to customer before and after the purchase of the product. Online underwriting strategy, the use of web portal to purchase an insurance policy. Automated claims management strategy, this is the computerized system of settling claims. Centralized customer relationship management strategy, this is the concept that focuses on customer needs and demands. Insurance business, business that undertakes liability by way of insurance. Insurer, this is a person who carries on insurance business. Insurance holder, an individual that purchases an insurance policy. Problem statement. Nowadays, insurance customers are time-tied and anxious, especially in cases of uncertainties like death, illnesses, or accidents, or when they look at administration times, they prefer a company where they spend less time on administration. And a solution to lessen this time may be found in implementing certain strategies like the online underwriting strategies and the claims management strategy. A lot of studies have been done in developed and developing countries determining the effects of ICT strategy implementation in the insurance industry. Of the 41 journals that were reviewed, many researches were done in India, Kenya, and Nigeria. However, of these 41, only 3 were done in Zambia, where one focused on claims handling processes, which was done by Carlos from the University of Zambia. The other one focused on the impact of adoption and usage of ICTs on selected manufacturing and business firms in Zambia, which was done by Philemon Daka. And the other one focused on the assessment of factors influencing performance of the insurance industry in Zambia, which was done by James Koma from Cavendish University. The limited literature in the Zambian context can limit the general conclusion on the effects of ICT strategy implementation on the customer service delivery. Therefore, this study seeks to fill the gap by researching on the effects of ICT strategy implementation on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry in Kitwe, Zambia. Objectives of the study. We have 3 objectives in this study. One is to establish the effect of online underwriting on customer service delivery in the insurance industry in Kitwe, Zambia. Second, to determine the effect of implementing the automated claims management on customer service delivery in the insurance industry in Kitwe, Zambia. Lastly, to investigate the effect of centralized customer relationship management on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry in Kitwe, Zambia. We move on to theoretical underpinning. This is a section that will outline the theories that were used in this study. This study used 2 theories, namely information systems access theory and the expectations confirmation theory. Information systems theory, it was proposed by DeLone and McLean, and it claims that technology, information, and quality of service has an impact on consumer happiness and utilization. This theory was used in a study by Arnold and Okute, who undertook a study on modeling a rule-based system for the medical underwriting in the insurance companies. It was also used by Rajesh and Savesh. The expectation Demand confirmation theory. This is a theory that demonstrates that consumers will only buy products which meet their perceived needs. This theory was used by Antonio, who undertook a study on the impact of ICT in the insurance industry, the role of customer relationship management. It was also used by Evelyn and Filoreta. We now have the conceptual model, and as it can be seen, the conceptual model was developed since the primary journal, which was Martin Kimani 2017 from Kenya, didn't have the conceptual model. This is a model that summarizes the objectives of the study. As you can see, we have the dependent variables on my right and the independent variables on my left. This means that customer service delivery will be dependent on the online underwriting strategy, which is the independent variable, the automated claims management strategy, and the centralized customer relationship management strategy. We now have hypothesis development. Hypothesis is a statement of expectation that will be tested by research. It predicts the relationship between variables. So in our study, we have three hypotheses, which is H1, H2, H3. H1 is CRM strategy has an impact on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry. H2 is online underwriting strategy has an impact on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry. H3 is automated claims management has an impact on the customer service delivery in the insurance industry. We now move on to research design. This is a section that will summarize the data collection and the data reporting. As you can see on the screen, we have the research design, research strategy, population, sample size, data collection tools, and data analysis. On the research design, among the different designs suggested by Criswell 2012 were the survey design, experimental design, correlation design, grounded theory design. We chose correlation design. It is suitable in this study as we were seeking to establish relationship between the variables. The research strategy that was used was quantitative. The population that was targeted was the insured individuals of the top 5 insurance companies, which is Matson, Sanlam, Phoenix, ZSIC, and Nico. On the sample size, the sampling technique that was used, we used a stratified random sampling. It was chosen based on the qualities of population and the time allocated. Among 4,000 policyholders that we found that over 250 have very active policies. And using Rawsoft calculator, we found that the required sample size is 150. The data collection tool that was used was a questionnaire with a 4-point Likert scale, which has 1 that represented low, not at all, strongly disagree, up to 4, which represented very high, great extent, and strongly agree. On the data analysis, we use SPSS, which is the statistical package for social science version 26, which has analysis like the correlation, fact, and reliability analysis. We now have the findings and interpretations, but before we move to the actual findings and interpretations, a reliability test was done on the questionnaire that was adopted from Martin Kimani 2017 of Kenya, and the internal consensus was tested using the reliability test for Cronbach alpha. We need to take into consideration that Cronbach is sensitive to numbering of items in the scale. Using that, the results that were shown was that customer service delivery had alpha of 0.735, online underwriting 0.771, claims management strategy with 0.617, and CRM with alpha 0.694. This shows an internal consistency. With that being said, the reliability test for the questionnaire was that it has the ability of a research finding to be repeatable. The questionnaire was then distributed to the active policyholders of the top 5 insurance companies. As we can see on the screen, you have the sample profile results with the variables, that is gender, age, marital status, insurance provider, insurance policy, and the length of the insurance policy. And we have the descriptions there, we have the frequencies and the percentages. And we can see how the percentages are. For example, on the gender, we have male, which has a higher percentage than the females. So as seen in the table, we can conclude that most of these insurance companies have males who are single, youthful, and energetic that prefer motor and medical insurance policy from their service provider. However, most of these have been there for less than 10 years. The results were then analyzed using SPSS version 26, where, as we can see on the screen, we have the first analysis, that is the correlation among variables. Correlation is used to measure the relationship that exists between variables, that is the dependent and the independent variables. In our study, we have the dependent variable as customer service delivery, and the independent variables, which is online underwriting strategy, automated management strategy, and centralized customer relationship management. As we can see in the table where we have the variables, the mean, standard deviation, and the population. From there, we can then interpret that online underwriting strategy has a Pearson coefficient which is 0.578 with probability less than 5%, and the automated management strategy which has Pearson coefficient of 0.680 and probability remaining the same, which is 5%. Then the centralized customer relationship management with R, which is 0.592, probability as usual 5%. According to that, the effects based on Cohen's criteria are that all had large impact. This is based on the Pearson coefficients, they range from -1 to 1. We can conclude that there exists a positive relationship between the dependent variables and the independent variables. We then have the hierarchical multiple regression that measures the effect size on the dependent variables. That is, what size of effect does the independent variables have on the dependent variables. As you can see in the table on the screen, we have the variables and the models, and model 4 is the one that is supporting all the independent variables. And from that, we can conclude that the centralized customer relationship management has a high effect size of 51.3%. That is on the customer service delivery. And next, we have the automated claims management with a 36.8% effect size on the customer service delivery. And lastly, we have the online underwriting strategy, which has a 8.2% effect. We then have the ANOVA table that shows the keenness of customer service and ICT strategy. In conclusion of the findings and interpretations, we have the hypothesis results as seen in the table. On the screen, we have the 3 hypotheses that were stated earlier, and we can see that all the hypotheses have been supported, and we can conclude that from the correlation and the multiple regression analysis results, the study indicates that all 3 aspects of information communication technology that were proposed in the conceptual model, that is in chapter 3, they are all supported, and these results can be related to the findings of the prior studies carried out by Kumar, Niraula, and Kotish, Dhaka, Kimani, in the different culture context. From the findings, we can then conclude the significance of our study, that is the contributions and the implications. On the contribution, we have the use of primary data in the developing country Zambia, where it was noted in our research gap, but the contextual gap, where most of these related studies were only done outside Zambia. The findings of this research are not exactly the same as those obtained in past research, even though few similarities were noted. The differences in research results can be attributed to the different contexts and different variables being measured. The results of this study add to the body of knowledge and can be used by companies on what affects customer service delivery. The implication of our study is on the policymaker, insurance companies, and the scholars. On the policymaker, they should ensure to come up with regulations that fit insurance companies well. And on the insurance companies, they must ensure to employ technologically skilled people who understand the effects of ICT on the customer service delivery. And on the scholars, they must ensure to research further and fill in existing gaps that have been noticed. During our study, we faced challenging aspects that limited our study. These limitations include coronavirus disease that affected the movements and communications with the target population, the financial constraint, the time, ignorance in that some respondents were ignorant in responding to our questionnaire, the skepticism. Some insurance companies were skeptical to give us information about their customer base, due to their past experience with other researchers, and there was the non-cooperative nature. And in the future research, scholars may try to explore the same dimensions in different industries like tourism and banking. They can also try to expand and assess each aspect of information communication technology separately, like finding the effect of online underwriting on customer service delivery. They can also assess factors affecting the implementations of information communication technology strategy. In conclusion, customer service is important to every business, and most of these scholars have researched on it in conjunction with ICT strategies, but a few have focused on the insurance sector. In regards with our literature, it was established that a contextual and theoretical gap existed. This makes our study significant in order to bridge in the existing gaps. This marks the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening in. Stay blessed.